it changes. As you make choices over time, your palm changes throughout your life. So I've been reading them for years. The point is even those who are involved in ritualistic activities, and those who are the victims of it, agree to come into this world and be a part of it.
Really?
Right. See, we at another level, before we enter or fall through the fallopian tubes and fall into matter, as spirit, get dropped off like a hard-boiled egg, okay? Get smacked on the ass, which they don't do anymore. Why would they abuse a child from day one?
To get that
get used to it. This is the way it's going to be, right?
Welcome to the real world. It sucks. You're going to love it.
It sucks. You're going to love it. Life is not a walk in the park, but it is a four-letter word. Okay? So what we're basically heading towards here is an event, another event, not a man-made event like 9/11. That was completely created. Now, how can you also say, well, wait a minute. Actually, when you start studying 9/11, and you see that most of the people they say were involved in that event were found alive in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We're watching them alleged selves on television that morning going, what am I doing on television? I'm sitting here with my family having breakfast.
Actually, some were still here in the U.S., just a few miles away from the White House.
Remember, on September 11th, only one plane was allowed to fly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it was two. So Air Force One hit the ground, and there was a jet flying around America, stopped at a bunch of different airports, and picked up 24 bin Ladens and took them overseas. Now, if you were really going after this guy, and in fact, from what I understand, there are a couple accounts of bin Laden going, what's happening? But see, this is the bin Laden family, who's been in business with the Bush family and other families for a very long time. In fact, they got the remodel, redeco job on the Kaaba. Okay? I'm not here to offend anybody in their religion. You believe what you need to. All roads will lead to home eventually. But for those who have found incongruencies and inconsistencies and do not need any more of the dogma in their life because they want to move forward, they have special gifts. They're called Indigo Children, Rainbow Children, Crystal Children. If you have these latent talents, don't let them be completely dormant because they start to fall away. One of the reasons why we, as we grow older, shut these things down starts at an early age. So when you talk about your imaginary friend, as they call it, but your invisible friend to everyone else in the house, but you see him, is people discourage you. Now, courage is where we get the word cortisone, and it means to dishearten you in this love you have for this aspect of yourself, being able to see into the next realm, or being able to communicate and see angels, or animal spirits, or fairies, or elves.
And most
but your parents can shut that all down with one thought. I am going to kill that little bastard if he doesn't shut up. Now, even though they didn't say it, even though they didn't say it, they thought it. Now, you being a psychic child hears it, and you have two options.
Listen
or turn it off, because you don't want to believe that your mother, who brought you in, can take you out and probably make it look like an accident. So you shut down all your psychic powers and go, you know what, from now on I'm just going to go with the dialogue, because that was actually better than what I heard. She said, shut up or I'm going to come in there and beat your ass. Well, that's a whole lot better than getting killed, isn't it? Now, your mother was going to kill you, but by shutting these switches off, you shut down the neural networks, and that which, as the head rule says, doesn't fire together, doesn't wire together. So the more you practice being and have confidence in and have courage to endeavor into your psychic or your inherent talents within or the true genius of who you are, the more you go down that road, the stronger those powers become, the more confident you become. And the more dogma you get out of your way on the way to enlightenment, the easier it is to get there. And things are speeding up, including the path to enlightenment. You could have, many years ago, sat for 40 years and gotten to enlightenment, or did like Buddha did and said, I'm going to sit under this tree and I'm going to die, or you're going to tell me what it's all about. He got there, and it's almost as if you're not getting neutral. You go, whatever happens, happens. But I need to help good witches were the kind that stayed at home and created their own world. And that's basically what we do. And when we do that, you are literally giving permission to other spirits out there to create their own world. And if they're creating a world of peace and harmony and feng shui and flow, then others will. And this is how it grows, like a mushroom. without you even seeing it, because there is no light to make it grow. It's something because you don't see the light, it's happening anyway. It's happening irregardless, as they would say, even though that might not be a word. It's happening regardless and irregardless of us. We are a part of it, but we're not directing it. We are almost being prompted by, it's called the central sun of the universe, that it is now time. How is this important? Well, if there are no two snowflakes alike, there are no two ears alike, even the ones on your body, there are no two beer cans alike. And it all has to do with astrological moments, if you will. And when those beer cans are moving down there, you can take this one off and this one off right next to it, and the atomic frequencies are different, because at that specific moment, if you will, in space-time, this is where the stars were. This is where the stars were.
And each vibration will affect your own energy.
Exactly. So they say, well, is astrology really true? Well, remember, astronomy came from astrology.
Yeah.
Chemistry came from alchemy. Numerology gave birth to gematria, which gave birth to geometry. And it goes on and on and on. It all came from the esoteric understanding at first. That's how we got to where we are, is we had the fundamental truths, and someone pulled the rug out, but left just enough truth in to keep us fascinated, which means to fix your gaze upon. And people are fascinated by shiny objects and anything that...
Guilty.
Well, look at television. Flashy commercials, fast moving. That puts you in a slower brainwave and makes you more suggestible. And they know this. So the idea is the more you know about the techniques and the tactics that they're employing to sway your consciousness, to create the world that they want, or to have you under their control through fear, the more you wipe that out, beginning with global warming. A $14 light bulb is not going to change the world.
No, it is not.
And it'll change the bank account of the corporation putting it out. But it doesn't change our contribution to it. Our contribution should be to pray and have confidence.
Now, you're kind of talking to someone to here that is, I'm kind of wondering why we're not doing all we can to fix the planet that supposedly we
because there's
screwed up to
nothing
begin
we
with.
can do. Supposedly, right? I'm addicted to oil. Oh, really? Well, I'm not getting the dividends from it, George Bush.
Yeah.
You are. So I'm not really addicted to oil per se. I'm addicted to movement. And how I get from one place to the other.
Yeah.
I would prefer, since we live in a place that is the windiest per capita place in the United States of America, that it would be lined with windmills.
I would mind
energy. But
there's
I'll go one further.
Okay.
I would like to take Nikola Tesla's technology and place that for the industry.
Freaking
free energy designed from free electromagnetics, which you don't need to enhance. And by the way, that's another aspect where they take your godhood away from you. By giving you television, telephones, they're taking away two very psychic abilities that we could tap into if we had not had those two units of third dimensional technology. We have our own technology. I can do psychic readings on somebody at a distance on the other side of the planet, or I can do remote viewing and see something in a cave in Russia 1,000 feet below the ground.
I'm still working on that one. I got it to work once.
Now, and that's all that matters. You fired those wires together once. Now
I got it working once, but I don't know how to
start
do
wiring
it
together. The more you do it. Well, here's the oddness of any sort of esoteric endeavor. If you don't have full-on training and you only have a book, more often than not, you may not have the occurrence that you're seeking, like astral projection. If you want to do an out-of-body thing, you may do a biolocation rather than an astral projection, and you'll do it unprompted. So there you are, trying. You're trying to go astral. The winds get loud. You hear the bells. It's ready to go, and all of a sudden it freaks you out. But that night you go to sleep, and at peace, you just float out of the body, and you go out, and you go under the water and under the bridge like I have.
You find out you're in Central Park 4,000 miles away.
You can also wind up in a vortex, and that's what happened to me. And that's how I knew they were very real. And also a union with divinity occurred there. So
yeah, tell the story about when you entered the vortex.
I was in a situation where I was studying under a shaman, and I had to reconcile with all this Native American, that's what I'll have to call it for lack of a better term, First Nations people, spirits, who've lived here for thousands of years, got a hold of me when I moved here and said he's a candidate. we're actually going to take care of him, which is kind of weird because it can drive you insane.
Yeah.
So you do need guidance in that situation. I had them hugging me and squeezing me and affecting my consciousness, and I had to learn more about nature and this place to respect it enough to live at peace. So I joined up with a shaman. And one of the things you have to learn is astral projection, going out of body, altered states of consciousness.
Okay.
I was using the Monroe tapes, who was a guy who got into different brave new areas of exploration with in regards to your consciousness and how to alter the state of it and what it can produce for you.
Mm-hmm.
Going out of body being one of them. He could predictably get to certain places and just either go out of body, astral project, or whatever.
Yeah.